Squinch with another video review. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Toyworld H02 Brainwave, their second figure from their kind of Headmaster series, the first one being Hardbone, which was an homage to the Headmaster known as Hardhead. This one, Brainwave, is an homage to Brainstorm, who is, in the cartoon, essentially the one responsible for creating the whole Headmaster technology. It was his idea to use human counterparts and basically their brains to control the robot bodies. Now, we're already seeing a little bit of, I don't want to say controversy, but some people aren't too terribly happy. As you can see, the picture here shows a fairly nice blue image of the Brainwave character. Now, Brainstorm in the G1 cartoon had more of this bluish color, whereas his G1 toy actually had this kind of green coloring, which is what we have here. That's what Toyworld decided to do. But you do see a lot more blue in the actual images, and to be totally honest, I probably would have preferred it if it was this blue coloring. Then you come around here to the side, you see his Headmaster, and then on the back it just says Robot Mode and Jet Mode, which kind of looks like an X-Wing or something from Star Wars. It has I guess a similar sort of look. It really wasn't like this X-Wing kind of thing. It had these wings that were going lower, but then it had like a little bit taller kind of tail fins here that weren't necessarily these wings. So there is some liberties taken with it, but I don't think it looks bad at all. I really do like it. I like the update. My only, I guess, concern and biggest nitpick would be the coloring on it. I like my figures to really represent how they looked in the cartoon, because that's what I more or less grew up with. I had the toys, obviously, but the cartoon was really where it was at for me. So there you see the figure in his jet mode. You got his guns, you got his little Headmaster dude. So beyond that, that's about it for the packaging. So I really am curious to see how it is. I absolutely loved the Hardbone figure, and I'm really very impressed with a lot of the stuff that Toyworld has come out with. So without further ado, I guess let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Brainwave opened up and out of its packaging. And up first, we're going to take a look at his little Headmaster guy. So setting this kind of off to the side for right now. And now in the actual cartoon, I think his name was like Arcana or something like that, but in the Headmaster series from Japan, it was a different name, and I never watched that. It gets very confusing, so I just stick to what I know mostly from the United States cartoon. But as you can see, really nice detail on here, nice paint applications. He is nicely articulated for such a small guy. His arms rotate here on ball joints just at the shoulder. The hips move forward and back. They're also actually on ball joints, I believe. Yeah, they're on ball joints, so they can move forward and back, and then he bends at the knee. So a good level of articulation with this guy. It's really very nice. And then you come around here to the back, and there's Brainwave's face, and it's upside down. Now, the one negative I would give this is there isn't anything to cover that. Unlike the original Headmaster figures, they had a little flap that would come down and kind of cover that up so that you necessarily wouldn't see that, and it would just look like a big giant backpack. So that is one thing that I wish that they would do, but I mean, I don't really know how you could actually incorporate that. I'm sure you probably could with just like maybe this crest and have that actually rotate down, but who knows. But now for his transformation, all you do is you rotate him at the knees, just like so, and then bring his legs up, and here you have, and then obviously you flip it upside down, and here you have Brainwave's head, which is a very nice representation of Brainstorm. That absolutely looks like him. And he does appear to have, well, red eyes, but I can't tell if I think it actually has like little red jewels in there, but there's no light piping coming from anywhere, so that doesn't light up. I don't believe it. I mean, obviously you can see it not really lighting up, and it just might be really shiny paint inside there or something. But there's his head. And for his vehicle mode, you do see a cockpit right here, which I can never open because of the whole lack of long fingernails. But using my little tweezers here, you just wedge that open. Just like so, and you can actually put them inside there. Now it's a little bit harder to get to because you can see it doesn't go up all that high. You can detach these, is just part of the transformation, and then angle these back, and then you can get this up much higher. And that's how you're really going to end up putting him in here if you really wanted to. You can see on the inside here you got the nice little cockpit, and then let me just transform him back real quick, just round, and then just have him in a seated position, and then just sit him inside there and then bring that down. And it sits in there nicely, but like I said, it's harder to actually get him to sit in there when you can't lift this back, because it's not easy to get in there. You can see it's almost impossible to get in there. I can't do it. So that's the only real way that you can actually get him to sit in there, is to partially de-transform him to do it. But you can do it. It's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. It's just this whole section here really isn't incorporated as well as I really wish it would be. So just leaving them in there, we're going to take a look at the jet itself. Now, as I mentioned previously, it is a little bit different than what we got with the G1 version. Now, I don't have the G1 version, but imagine, if you will, regular wings coming out and then rear stabilizers that are a little bit smaller than what you have here with these wings that were kind of like on the back section here. I think they're rear stabilizers or something like that, but he didn't have this X-wing shape, and I know some people are complaining about that. I don't mind it. I think it looks pretty cool. I actually like it. The front here is very much how it looked in the original G1 toy, with the guns here on the side on this long kind of front fuselage. It's really very cool looking. I do dig it. The wings are probably going to throw some people off if you're real purists. The other thing that's going to throw people off is the color. As I said, it's not very blue. It's got this more aqua color, which is a lot more in line with what we got with the G1 toy. Again, I wish I did have the G1 toy to show that to you, but it is fairly similar to that coloring and really doesn't have that actual cartoon look. That's probably my biggest complaint with it. I wish it had that color, but it's something that I can look past, because honestly, Brainwave was a character that I only knew through like 2 episodes or something. He was at the very end of the whole line. Now, we continued on with the Japanese Headmasters, but like I said, I never bothered watching that. Mostly because I can't do subtitles. It's nothing. No movie in history, whether it be a cartoon or a live action movie, could I do subtitles. I can't watch it and see what's going on screen and read the subtitles at the same time. I don't know. Maybe it's me. There's something wrong with my brain. I can't do it. So this was a series I was never able to watch and enjoy. But you come around here to the back, you got some really nice thrusters here. You got 2 bigger ones up here and 2 small ones. And then I guess you can imagine these as thrusters as well. So he's got an additional 4 thrusters. But generally speaking, I like the way that the vehicle mold looks. It's very Cybertronian, very cool looking. And as you can see, he does have these like sliding kind of landing gear where they're not actual wheels, they're more like ski things or something like that. So really very cool. I absolutely dig it. And the general nitpick about like the X-wing look really doesn't bug me all that much. The biggest thing that bugs me would probably be the coloring. But as I said, even that's not all that bad, I don't think. You know, the other thing that I really like is, as you can see just by my hand, I mean, this is a good size toy. This is a good Voyager size figure, I would say. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. Now, the transformation is pretty simple. You can probably look at this and see where everything is, but it's pretty enjoyable, really. So first, what you want to do is go ahead and remove these guns. They're gonna just become his weapons, obviously, in his robot mode there. So just setting those off to the side. Then come around here to this section. You can bring these down, whatever you want to do. Just give these a little tug. Then you're going to rotate this down all the way. Do that on this side as well. And go ahead and tuck the landing gear down. I guess I should have did that first. Do that on the smaller ones as well. Then come around here. You're going to just rotate these bits down, fold this section out. These are going to kind of clip up and then fold these in. Give that a nice little push, and that locks those together. Then you can spread these, and obviously you're seeing his feet and his legs being created. Fold this out right there. Do that on that side as well. Boom. Boom. And here you have his legs transformed. And again, you're seeing just how big this guy's actually going to be. Coming down up here to the top, you're going to want to rotate these around. So you folded these back on this green joint, and then you're just going to rotate this around, keeping the green bits in the same spot, and then just spinning the black sections here. And then you can angle these back just like so, just creating a, well, giant backpack for the most part. Then take these arms, split these, and they actually will angle outward. It's kind of tough to do, but just, you can hear that little pop. That's actually shifting this entire arm out a little bit. And then just rotate these around. Now, this is a part of a complaint, I suppose. There's a little tiny peg right here that pegs into the hole
on these arms. So when you bring it around, you got to give it a nice push back in and kind of put it in there, although it doesn't sit in there or clip in very well. So again, rotate that around, then push the arm in, then line that panel up and lock that into place. Although, like I said, it unfortunately doesn't really lock it. That really does kind of suck a little bit. So then you want to come around here. You got these little bits right here that it already slid out a little bit. So let me take this. I pulled a little bit harder. Fold this section out like so. Again, on this side, I guess I should have did this first. Let's see, fingernail? No? There you go. Pull that little flap out, fold that like so. Keep that there. You can then pull this entire thing out one notch, rotate that around. Do that on this side as well. Pull it out. It's kind of tough. There we go. One little notch, rotate down and around. Go ahead, rotate these. This little section here folds out. You can spin this all the way out. Then there. Do that on this side as well. Very tight joints on this one. Rotate that, spin that back and around, and then again these kind of like flopping down. They sort of lock up into position, but if you bump them around, they kind of plop out. And then you can see that these shoulders don't necessarily like staying locked into place if you play with it too much. That's really something that kind of sucks. And as you can see, he's missing his head. So what I want to do, come around here to the back, use my tweezers, open this bit, pull his head back out, close that, bring that back around, and then we're going to spin, bring that up, spin, bring that up, and now you have him in his head mode. And then you just come around here, you got the little section right there, put it in there, and boom, there you have Brainwave transformed in his robot mode. And like I said, the color is probably one thing that's going to throw some people off because of the green on here, but I really do like the way that this guy looks. If you want, you can take these guns and you can position them here underneath his forearms, although it's not an entirely accurate look for him, but it's something that you can do. I mean, I honestly prefer just to use his guns the way that they were originally intended, and that's just having them holding them. So you can get that going for him, which that's also a very cool look with big giant cannons. So I mean, for you, it's a personal preference kind of thing. Now, like I said, I really enjoy the way that this guy looks. He's coming across very white, but it is a more off-white color on his entire body, which really does nicely pull out a lot of details. You can see that, especially like here on the inside here. But I mean, it's painted, so it helps that just in general. But it's not a full-on super white. Now, my biggest complaint would be these shoulders. As you can see, they do rotate here, but they are meant to lock in, and then you're supposed to rotate it at this joint. They don't lock in all that terribly well. I guess it's not that bad if you just don't lock it in general. I mean, you can then rotate it right there. So I guess it's not too bad, but at least it still rotates. But it's really meant to rotate there at this joint right here. The other kind of weirdness would be these big giant wings on the back. You can position these in different ways. You can kind of do it like that, have the wings off to the side. That looks a little bit more G1 accurate with the wings on the side like that. But they do articulate a little bit, but not a lot. So you could do it something like that, I suppose. Looks pretty cool. The problem though is, like, as you can see right here, if you have it where it's all the way up like that, it's resting right on his shoulder, so that screws a lot of stuff up. So for me, I just prefer to leave it like that. It leaves a lot more clearance for the rotation of the arm. So I guess it's a personal preference how you want to display it. So getting these guns out of his hands. For his articulation, the head does rotate. It is, you do kind of have to grab hold of it on the side to do it. If you grab hold of it on the back, you get the legs that kind of wiggle, and that's a negative aspect, I guess, but there's not really much you can do. It is a pretty tight rotation. Oops, and I just pulled it off when I did that. So you do have that going on for his articulation. Like I said, the shoulders will rotate here or here, depending on what you want to do. They angle in and out like so. They rotate at the upper part of the bicep, bend at the elbow. The wrists also rotate, which is really nice. The waist does have a rotation. He does have these little flaps right here that allow his legs to move forward and back nicely on very sturdy ratchet joints. They move in and out. They also rotate at the upper part of the knee, bend at the knee as well. It's a little bit of a ratchet joint. It's not much. You can kind of see the grooves right there. And then the feet can pivot, well, in and out like so, and then forward and back. It's just really stiff. So you can angle these out and get a real wide pose with them, which I really appreciate. That's very cool. It allows for a lot more kind of dynamic poses, I suppose. And then this section here it's kind of a pain in the butt to get to, but this also does fold down, replicating the cockpit here in the back. You have that little bit right here, so that still opens, and then you can have access to the internal panel right there. So really a nicely articulated figure. I think it looks every time I do that, I end up pulling it off. So, I mean, you get a lot of articulation. There's a lot of versatility with this figure, and a lot of options in terms of displaying and posability. I simply love it. And like I said, it's a good size figure. So I'm going to get him standing straight here, get the feet position. What's going on here? Oh, you got one angled and one not. All right. So straightening that out. There we go. What's going on? All right, that one. It's that foot. There we go. So, getting that standing there for you, in terms of a comparison, here he is. It is a Voyager figure that I recently have taken a look at, that being the Voyager class Predaking. As you can see, Brainwave is actually taller at the head than Predaking is, so he's a little bit bigger than Voyager size. I mean, obviously with the wings, he's a little bit bigger, but just looking at the head, he's a considerably taller figure that you can see. So that's absolutely wonderful. I really love the size for this guy. And then just to be silly, here's a big fat sumo wrestler. This is actually Yokozuna from the Mattel's wrestling figure line. So there you go. I don't know. I really only had him there because he was sitting right next to my desk, and so there's a size comparison for you. But Brainwave is a really nice figure, though. I really enjoy it. I think it's very nicely put together, and then there's secrets. Like these actually detach. Now, you can have him hold these, and you can have him with some funky kind of dagger weapons, which, ooh, that's fancy. I don't know why you would want that, but I mean, hey, it's extra weapons and they store perfectly fine. So if you want to use them, you can. If not, I think it really nicely blends in with the rest of his actual legs. So that's really very cool, I think. Now, transformation back, it is pretty simple. Like I said, I mean, the transformation is not very complex on these, which I do appreciate. First, I'm going to take his head off and just set that off to the side. Then I rotate these bits around. I use this actually to kind of put a little pressure on this to bring that out. Then rotate these around like so, closing that back up. It just makes it a little easier because, like I said, I don't have fingernails, and these are very stiff joints here, so I like using that as leverage to bring those up and around, just like so. Then go ahead and take these, squish these up like so. You can take these, then fold these. Well, actually, that's the wrong way here. Hold on. Well, get that out of there. Yeah, well, I'll worry about that in a second. So you bring these up, and then you bring them up like that. Give it a nice squish there. Do that as well on this side. Bring this in, and then you have to push these in. They angle inward on a small little joint. Get that. Oh, I already had that all the way in. So where's my little tweezers? Pull this back out, just like so. Bring that up. Rotate these around. Give them a nice little collapse right in there, just like so. And actually, I did have that wrong. Pull that out. Push that in. There we go. Pull that out. Push that in, just like so. Now you do have to, I'm getting these out of the way, you do have to make sure that you collapse these in there very well, because they're actually tabs in here that lock together, so it's kind of a pain in the butt, really, but folding this. That's probably the most complicated part, just making sure that you get these pushed all the way in, and then bring them together, squish them just like so, and then make sure that that's kind of straight. So just looking at that, and that has a very six shot kind of look to it. Straighten that out. Does that look straight? Kind of looks straight. Yeah, well, there. Good enough, I guess. Then you come around here to the legs, take these feet, fold these heels down, and the foot inside of it, something like that. Then take these, separate that, and you can just angle these back up and around, and then the two halves peg together, and then you kind of make sure getting these flipped up all the way and out of the way like so. And then you just have to angle these so that they're all the way down and flush here, and they don't tab anything like together down here. You just kind of leave them like that. Fold these bits down, and then you bring these halves back and lock that in on the side just like so. Then you can straighten out the wing down here, straighten out the wing down here, and actually you don't want to have it that far down because you got to be able to pull and then straighten that out. You got to be able to pull these landing gear out, and I use tweezers because I cheat. And then boom, boom, bada boom, straighten that out like that. Make sure that the landing gear are nice and straight. And here you have Brainwave back in his, we're just gonna call it an X-Wing mode. And then for the last bit, you just take the your pilot, which I don't think they actually gave him a name in the third-party world. I don't think this guy has a name. I don't think they gave him a name. And then just stand him right there, and he does stand pretty well, as you can see. He just stands there, and then you can take these, and I just dropped the other one. Take this, plug it in on that side, give that a nice little push, just like so. Then you pull out the other one, pick it up off the ground like I had to do, and there you go, just to complete the look. Now, there are some people that are probably not going to like this all that much. One of the biggest things is I'm sure the price is going to turn people off. This is a $100 figure. But bear in mind that it is a third-party figure, and you could see just how big it is. There's a lot going into this, and honestly, I really do believe that it is well worth the $100 price point. Having Hardbone and now having Brainwave really makes me excited for other Headmasters, possibly Target Masters, maybe even Power Masters, that they could potentially make. I think they're doing a good job with these. Vehicle mode, as I said, is probably a little bit weird for some people and maybe a little bit too simplistic, but I really do enjoy the design. You know, one thing that I also kind of noticed is he's got these holes right up here. I wonder if you can, I bet you probably could. Oh yeah, you could put those right there if you wanted to as well. So there's a couple different options for you guys with these guns and such. I mean, I really do like it. Like I said, the jet mode I think looks pretty cool. I appreciate the homage basically to the original one while not actually entirely copying that look. The transformation is relatively simple, but it's not bad. There's some interesting stuff. I really do like what they do, especially here with the legs, how they fold in at a different joint and lock together. I really do appreciate that. That's really cool, and I keep knocking this guy down. Stop falling. And then the robot mode, I just think looks terrific. Everything about this is just a win, in my opinion, and without a doubt, well worth picking up, especially if you are a fan of those old Headmasters. Everything on here feels solid, and the only thing that I can really say, maybe to kind of drive it home, is it feels official. Like, it doesn't feel cheap or anything like that. This feels well worth it. So that's all I can really think of, guys. Definitely a collector-based item, but that really, I don't think, should dissuade too many people from picking this guy up. I think it's a wonderful addition, especially to a classic sort of display shelf or something like that. So if you are interested in getting this guy, go ahead and click on the link down in the video description. You'll go to Big Bad Toy Store where you can pick this guy up and add him to your collection today. But beyond that, that's about it, guys. So once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Don't forget to keep in touch with me, find out recent purchases and things of that nature by following me over on Twitter at twitter.com/Optibotimus or liking my Facebook page at facebook.com/TeamBotimus. And until next time, this has been Optibotimus. I'll talk to you later.